The other thing too is that just to understand that, frankly, these things take time. So you might have the most amazing brand and you might be the most amazing business person, but you got to build this thing up. So I have a lot of people that have like a 3 to 5 year plan to kind of exit corporate America. They should be talking to me now. And the reason why is the ideal situation is to go ahead and to start the business now, part-time. Maybe your spouse is the one starting it. And then in 3 to 5 years, right, when you've built it up, then and it's making enough money, you could be in a situation where you can say goodbye to your 9 to 5 job.
Get Unstuck Podcast, a podcast for entrepreneurs who prioritize their life first, business second. I'm Mutita Panmuk, your host, who dedicates my life to designing and building a business that supports lifestyle. We will learn together from entrepreneurs around the world how they overcome their life challenges, their business obstacles, and yet still get unstuck from the hamster wheel of burying themselves into their business. Because time is the #1 commodity in the world that you cannot get back once it's gone. So let's shorten the learning curve and see how can we prioritize better. Let's get unstuck. Hey, Get Unstuck Nation. In case you don't want to start a business with your own ideas just yet, there's one way that you can have a proven business model and run it by yourself. Did you know that? You maybe have heard of it. Of course, it's called franchise. So our guest today, he have more than 9 years. Adam Goldman here. He has helped hundreds of people change their life through franchise business ownership. And today, he's going to share with us how to make that happen and how to make it become the franchise lifestyle. So without further ado, please welcome Adam to Get Unstuck Podcast today. Hi, Adam.
Hi, Mutita. Thank you so much for having me today.
I'm so honored and I'm excited to talk to you today.
Me too.
So before we get into the franchise journey, but how did you get into the business owner journey even?
So great question. So I've always been the kind of person that just never fit into the corporate world. I graduated from college and moved to Eastern Europe. Just because it just didn't necessarily jive with me, the idea of working for someone else, and owned some businesses in Poland, went to business school at Berkeley in California. And then when I graduated, sold my business, just kind of looking for the next thing to do. So started real estate investment in Houston after 2008. And one of my friends, this business kind of dried up because all these great deals were just not being available anymore. And my friend said, hey, you should really think about talking to my friend. She can tell you about different franchise opportunities. And so I found out about franchises just by accident. And 14 years ago, I invested in a franchise myself in an office cleaning master franchise. And I've had this role now for 7.5 years of being someone that's a matchmaker, connector between different franchise brands and themselves, people that are potentially interested in business ownership.
Is it hard or not to match people with the franchise business? What is the good quality to find?
Mutita, great question. It's easy to make matches, but it's hard to make good matches. So the process of matching people, it's an art, not a science. I mean, it's funny because people are saying, hey, can't you just kind of put me into ChatGPT and then you'll find the right franchise, right? And it's not that simple, right? There's so many different things out there that are always changing. Everyone loved crumble cookie in the United States a couple years ago. In my opinion, it was kind of a fad, right? And so what happened is that at the time, it might have been a great fit for someone, but it sells out very quickly. So my inventory is always changing. I'm getting information from existing franchisees, either good or bad, about different franchise systems. So just really trying to find the right culture and also a really good system as well when I'm making matches.
So since you mentioned that, how can we know this is the right fit?
So great question. I mean, look, you can never know anything and there are no guarantees in my industry, but I would hope that my candidates realize that that this is a really hard road. And I believe that most people look at franchises the wrong way, meaning they just kind of find something in a magazine and get excited about and look deeply into it, as opposed to my method, which is kind of getting to know my candidates first and then only then give them some recommendations if they're a fit. And many people aren't fits, right? So I would hope that the chances of this working out are higher with working with me than just kind of someone randomly throwing a dart at a dartboard and picking a brand.
Oh, so when someone decided that, okay, now I want to own a franchise license, what they have to prepare themselves before working with you, or like reach out to the franchise matchmaker?
So what a great question. So look, the only thing that people need to be prepared for is they need to be within a few months' time of investing in something like this, because if they tell me, hey, I'm a few years away, that's a little bit too far, right? It's not going to be available anymore in their home city. But what I would also say is that they also have to kind of just mentally be prepared, because there's a lot of fear with investing like this. And in many instances for my candidates, this is one of the biggest investments of their life. Maybe it's almost like buying a house, right? So there's lots of fear that you're dealing with an investment like this.
So you mentioned about investment. What is the budget that have to prepare walking into your office then?
So great question again. And by the way, most of my business, we're in a digital world, right? So we talk about walking to the office. A lot of my placements, candidates in the United States and Canada, and also international, we do it through Zoom, right? So that's typically the new workplace that I have. The investment level really varies. So I have people, I like to divide franchises into brick and mortar and non-brick and mortar businesses. Brick and mortar businesses can be as expensive as over $1 million if you have McDonald's. We do typically have funding sources either in the United States or Canada. And then on the lower end, that might be a couple $100,000 all in if you're deciding to invest in a boutique fitness studio. Many people now, in fact, 70 or 80% of my placements now are non-brick and mortar businesses. I'm talking about service companies. So for instance, I'm not saying that you have mosquitoes in Thailand, but I presume you do have a lot of them. We have a lot of them here in Houston, Texas as well. So if you were to buy a mosquito spraying business, which is a great business with margins that can make you blush, right? Where it's recurring revenue, it's about $125,000 all in. And my non-brick and mortar businesses go up from there. So it's anywhere from 125K and up.
All in, you mean one-time license, or it's going to be yearly?
I'm talking about a one-time investment, right? Meaning, so if you spend, in an ideal world, you spend $50,000 on a license and $75,000 on your truck, and maybe have some sort of cushion there for cash reserves, and you're kind of in business.
So if a person want to have a franchise, what are the things that they need to know about the advantage and disadvantage of being a franchisee?
Again, great question, Rutita. So look, the advantages of franchises are you get a brand and a process, right? All of my placements tell to me, they say, hey, look, Adam, I'm so grateful that you've connected with this business because you've saved me so much time and money in the mistakes that I would have made if I started things on my own, right? The disadvantage of a franchise is that you have to pay royalty fees and franchise fees. And look, I have people come to me all the time that are experts in their business, and they're looking potentially to buy a business in their expertise. And I say, no, don't do that. You could probably teach the franchisor some things about this business. What I would also say is that franchising is one of the only places I know of in the corporate world where it's a positive thing, where you don't know anything at all. Many brands are looking to actually teach you their way or their method, which is great.
I think many people that think about franchise, so they know that they're going to buy a proven business model already. But one of the things they feel scared is that even though they already bought a franchise, but will they able to run it and make it successful as the promise?
So look, you bring up a couple different questions. One question I heard was, how much time do I need to put into this business? And there's kind of a misconception in my industry where you expect to actually have to be able to run this thing full time, right? So there's a scale everywhere from not absentee ownership, but we call it semi-absentee ownership, all the way to an owner operator. And if it's the right brand, you might have the time to actually go ahead and to run it, even with running your own company, if you're good at managing people. If you might even be able to do it with a day job. Let's talk about the second thing is the franchise brand going to do what they promised? And again, there are no guarantees in life, right? My brands are in 75 different industries. They're pre-screened brands that I connect investors with, right? So again, I would hope that the chances of it being a good match would be higher than if you were going to go ahead and kind of throw a dart at a dartboard or look at a Google ad or something like that. And look, what I would say is I'm going to give you the tools if you're looking at franchises on how to make an educated decision, which questions to ask franchisees, how to do due diligence. This is critical for you to make the best decision for yourself.
What about the industry of the franchise? That would be the top picks for your candidate.
So look, I get asked this question all the time. Which industry is hot right now? Right? What should I invest in? And every person's different, right? But what I would say, if it was me, and I did invest 14 years ago, is that I think it's really important to find an industry that is of interest to you, but even more importantly, find the right characteristics in the brand. But as a first starting point, it's got to be something that's scalable, that has really high margins. That's got to be the right thing. I mean, there are certain industries, frankly, that are hard. You're kind of making it harder for yourself. And one of those, unfortunately, even though it's quite an industry that people have a lot to say about, is the food industry. That's a tough industry with low margins. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I'm just saying it's kind of harder sometimes.
Yeah, I can say from my personal experience, food industry is kind of very painful to make it work. So coming back to the commitment of the business owner or the franchisees that you mentioned is there are different tiers that you can commit, meaning that you can, how it looks like to own a franchise lifestyle. Can you give an example of that, how it actually looks like in real life?
Frankly, what I would say is I see it all the time where people look, the reason why people buy franchises, they buy it for the brand, but they also buy it for the system, for the scalability, right? And I see all the time people that have 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 units, right, of a brand where they have managers that are going ahead and running it for them, and they have flexibility in their life. They're not the ones that are cleaning the toilets for an office cleaning company or taking care of patients for a home healthcare agency. They have the systems in place with the help of the franchisor, and they're able to do things that they like visit Chiang Rai in Thailand or do really, really cool things. That's what the franchisee lifestyle is. It's being there for your child's softball game. And that's really what the dream or the ideal of franchising is, to be able to do other things as well. And look, some people's dream or lifestyle, maybe they're workaholics, right? Maybe they want to be in the business. Maybe it's that time of their career. Maybe they just don't, maybe corporate world has said, hey, we don't want you anymore. And this is their idea of a franchisee lifestyle, is just to kind of be in the game still, even if in their 50s, 60s, or 70s. And that's also an idea of franchisee lifestyle as well.
So if someone has been planning, if they are working in 9 to 5 right now, and they are planning that, okay, maybe franchise is the right way to leave the 9 to 5, what should they start preparing? So
first thing is you need to get your spouse on board if you're married. Right? Because this is a joint decision. When you buy a house, you don't buy it alone. You don't buy it through your spouse. You buy it with your spouse, right? The other thing too is that just to understand that, frankly, these things take time. So you might have the most amazing brand and you might be the most amazing business person, but you got to build this thing up. So I have a lot of people that have like a 3 to 5 year plan to kind of exit corporate America. They should be talking to me now. And the reason why is the ideal situation is to go ahead and to start the business now part-time. Maybe your spouse is the one starting it. And then in 3 to 5 years, right, when you've built it up and it's making enough money, you could be in a situation where you can say goodbye to your 9 to 5 job. So in case anyone want to speak with you and ask for your consultation of like where to get started, where can they reach out to you then? So look, I offer free 15-minute consultations. If I don't think you're a fit, I promise to tell you. You can reach out to me directly at franchiseadam.com to schedule that 15-minute chat. You can also look and schedule this at franchisecoach.net, which is my second website that also has a link to schedule a 15-minute appointment with me. Okay. So anyone, if you have been thinking about, does franchise really works well with you, or which franchise that you are looking forward to investing in? So make sure that the link is around here in the description or in the show note, and book a schedule 15-minute consulting call with Adam, and also check out his book. It will be around here as well, The Franchise Lifestyle. So thank you, Adam, for joining Get Unstuck podcast today and sharing these awesome information about franchise to Get Unstuck Nation. Thank you so much, Mutita.
I hope this episode inspires you wherever you are in your entrepreneurial journey so that you can have your business that supports your lifestyle. Get a show note at getunstuckmethod.com/podcast. Review what we have learned together today and start implementing right now. See it by yourself. The result of your consistent action are worth it. You deserve the freedom to enjoy your life. Until the next episode, let's get unstuck.